Hey, what's up guys? It's METAGAMESGX here, and we're doing a late emergency video on the new branded fusion monster. It just got announced, so it's coming in October 25th of this year in the new branded structure deck. We're getting 2 all original cards plus 4 alt arts. We'll talk about that at the end because some of them got revealed, but we got half of the new cards revealed. So the new Stigmata-Devouring Dragon is the new fusions for branded, guys. It's a level 8 Dark Beast fusion effect, so it's another beast, which is good. I guess sometimes, like, we can actually use that because we don't always run Brigand, and this is basically a retrain of Brigand. This is basically from the anime. And on the stats, it requires 1 Fallen of Albaz plus 1 light or dark monster plus 1 effect monster. So it's really, really generic conditions. However, you guys will notice it requires 3 monsters. So this is not summonable off of branded fusion, which already has, like, that's a red flag for me already, right? Because I want all the fusions to be usable off a branded fusion for the most part. And so we'll just get into the effects and talk about it. So you can only use the first and third effect of this card once per turn. Okay, so it's 3 effects. If this card is special summoned, you can shuffle up to 2 cards from any graveyard or banishment into the deck. So if this card's special summon, so that's kind of, so that offhand, that means I can just special summon this from the graveyard with Sanctifier and just have like an infinite grind game, which isn't bad offhand, even though it has really hard summoning conditions. And then number 2, while an Ecclesia monster is on the field or in either graveyard, this card gains 500 attack, and it's also unaffected by other cards' effects. So it's a mini towers, I guess, if you have an Ecclesia monster on the field or in either graveyard. So that's not terrible, but I feel like it's just, you're never like making a towers strategy around this, but it does have a towers like effect. And the third effect is during the end phase. So if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add 1 Dogmatica or Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand. So this card can get you a Tri-Brigade Mercurier if it's sent, or it could even get you an Ecclesia. So let's just cut to the chase, guys. I don't really love this card, to be honest. So there are a few different use cases. I think for one, it's a really good super poly target, right? Now that if you have Albaz normal summon and let's just say they chain something to negate it, you can then chain super poly and then fuse off one of their light or dark monsters plus an effect monster. So I think at the end of the day, this becomes one of our best super poly targets by far. And then also you can just use it with like a King of the Swamp too. So this could have use in the regular Draco Tail deck if you're running super poly too. Honestly, I could see a lot of use just from that. I also think that off of Gizmek Uka, shout out to Discord member Romian who pointed this out, because at the end of the day, if you go into Gizmek Uka because your opponent special summoned a light from their main deck, and then you go and then Uka is able to special summon the Ecclesia because it corresponds with the light attribute. So against a Ryzeal deck, a Fiendsmith deck, a Yummy deck, you can special summon Albaz and then special summon Albaz and then fuse off 2 of their monsters, right, to make this thing, which is better than before. So that is decent. However, I don't know if it's like better than Mirror Jade, right? So because this card doesn't, it gets you cards back from the graveyard or banishment, from either graveyard or banishment, which is pretty good. I don't think that you'll probably use it on your opponent unless you need to, and sometimes I bet that will come up, so I'm glad that option's there. So I do think that's a decent kind of ability for the card, because it's something that branded just couldn't do before. We couldn't spin back from banishment for really anything, and if this can spin back face down cards, I feel like this has a bit higher value too, because we really couldn't do that before outside of Dissipator, and we don't always run Dissipator. Now, I do think that this card is not something that we're going to probably run in most branded decks. I don't know if, I think this is more for Dogmatica, if anything. I feel like at the end of the day, I'm not sure, because it gives Dogmatica like a small towers that they can kind of get behind, and in the stun builds, they could also just put like a Moon Mirror Shield on it or something, or do whatever they want. So like, which is kind of sad. I really wish that this was more for like the mainline branded deck. Once again, I think just its biggest implication is like, you have a better super poly target, you have now a grind game piece that you didn't have before, and it is also decent off of Gizmek Uka. It's like one of your better things to fuse into, I guess, now is a Gizmek Uka, but I think that kind of goes in line with the super poly, nature of just how good that is for this. So I don't know if this is a card you're gonna have to run in branded really ever. Like I put it on the same really line as the Dogmatica Alba system, where it's like another tool in our tool shed that I don't think that we're actually gonna use outside of the formats that call for it. And I feel like this one isn't really a format dependent card. It's really just like, okay, well, how's the ban list looking like, right? Like, do I have are the current decks, could the current decks just lose to Fallen of Albaz, like normal summon, just fuse off, you know, make this guy basically, right? Because it does go to like 3k, it's unaffected, so maybe you can use it to ram into an opponent with a super poly, right? Like, pretty decent against like a Herald or something. This could definitely go against like a Yummy board, right? Normal summon Albaz, or set Albaz, super poly, fuse off the Herald plus the Statue. So I do think that, you know, it has a lot of use in that kind of regard. I do think it's a really strong super poly target for like clearing 2 bodies. I think that's the strongest part of it. I love the art, you know, I'll give them that. The art is absolutely incredible. So I do want to mention that we get 4 alt arts in the structure deck as well. 2 new cards, which we still need to get the other one, and once the other one comes out, which I'm hoping to be a lot better than what the fusion was for regular branded, that we'll make a video. But they released 2 alt arts, and one of them is a Dogmatica Eccelsia, and it's basically just her from the anime. It's her chibi. She just looks chibi, basically. I love it. And then, guys, you want to know what the spell is? It's Triple Tactics Thrust. Remember in my old video, I mentioned how they mentioned that there will be cards to power, or that duelists have put into the brand, like the branded deck to make better, basically, over the years, and like Thrust. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're talking about Thrust, right? Like, they're implying a Thrust reprint, and I said that 3 months ago, and that's a Thrust alt art, guys. So I'm very excited about that. So I'm hoping that comes in Starlight. I was gonna buy QCR Thrust. Now I'm just gonna wait for this, because I bet it's gonna be one of the 6 Starlights in the, because I believe 1 of 6 cards in the structure deck can come as Starlight that you can keep pulling for. So it's kind of like the Blue Eye structure deck. So I'm assuming one of them will be the new fusion, one of them will be Thrust. I hope it's not the new fusion. The new fusion's not good, and they should know that, so it really shouldn't get a Starlight slot. It should be the other branded cards. But and Eccelsia already has a Starlight, but like, I guess her chibi form needs a Starlight, so maybe they'll do that. But yeah, no, this is a really nice Thrust. So yeah, guys, just final thoughts on this monster. I don't think it's like that good, but also I don't think it's that terrible. You know, Stigmata, the Devouring Dragon, is really cool. I wish it was a fairy, frankly, just so we could have a better, you know, even if this was a fairy, this would have been fine, because then we could go, like, send Despian Tragedy and get a Mercurier in the end phase, but this is a beast, so the only thing we can spin off is Meowls off of High Spirits or Kit, and I'm not trying to go High Spirits on Kit usually, right? I mean, I guess this is still just, like, because I'm just, like, really hand-looping myself at that point. So, I mean, I think the fact you can get a Tri-Brigade card from your deck to your hand is decent for getting Mercurier, and I think that, you know, a lot of branded builds had already cut Brigand, so this ends up being almost a better Brigand in the sense that, like, it gives you a grind game with its special summon effect, which it is interesting that's on special summon, which I really like, so you can just keep looping it, you know, with Sanctifier or something, and you can keep infinite spinning back. And I think, like, that's kind of what they've been doing with the branded deck. They've been starting to fix the grind game a little bit with Secretarion Dragon, and then now this card. I think that both of these, and then also Albulinatus just becoming more pronounced with Blue Eyes, and now Dracatal. I do think that, you know, branded just has so many options for the grind game now. You already had an infinite grind game if you ran Albulinatus and Secretarion, because you could go out, you know, Secretarion basically revive back the Albulinatus, spin it back, and then you can Albulinatus just spin back all your dragons, including your main deck ones. So this is pretty cool that you can get back your banishment monsters, though. You can finally spin back branded Retribution, right? You can finally spin back your banished Despian Tragedy, your banished one of branded Fusion, which I do like, and it kind of goes with the card art, right? Because Eccelsia, he's saving the banished Eccelsia, so I get it. So we probably should have known it was a recursion piece, and I'm looking forward to the next card, guys. I'm not sure when it's going to get released. What do you guys want to see for it? If it's just like a good spell or even another fusion that's the fairy that everyone wants that mentions the Luber, like, I'll take that. But I think at this point we only need like one good card. Like, I don't know if we'll ever run this card, but I do think that the other new card will have a lot riding on it, and we'll see how good it is. So yeah, guys, let me know down below what you thought about this card. Also, if this video gets 200 likes, we will make a follow-up video discussing this more in detail. Support, and with that being said, let me know. Subscribe today if you haven't already. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Very much would appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. METAGAMESGX signing out.